I'm Lisa. I'm a linguist and tutor and voice actor and vocalist for the Areola Treat. As a teenager, I discovered punk and started listening to all sorts of bands such as The Cure and the Buzzcocks and Clash, and British punk, was very poignant. It's kind of very in your face and very all about what was happening in my life at the time. I got into lots of protest and activist groups, so I wanted to be part of the social scene, and the music seemed to be very loud and unapologetic. So I wanted that in my life. It's something I needed. And then from then onwards, I progressed to different types of genres that I was interested in, and still am to this day. I got to know more about post-punk, and I got to know about garage and rock, and then of course psychedelic rock in the 60s, and which I'm still into today. All of this music has left a huge impact on me. Besides books, from Kafka to J.G. Ballard to Murakami to Victorian literature to a lot of other beat poets and beat literatures. Delia Derbyshire, who was a pioneer of sound and electronic engineering and sound in the 1960s. She was responsible, you might know, for the soundtrack of The Who, for instance. She was otherwise known as the sculptress of sound, one of the very first pioneers in electronic music to have dabbled with sampling and electronic equipment. So she did all this in analog. Teenage Jesus and the Jerks. So this is actually Lydia Lunch, her first punk band, basically, debut, I think this was, where she was simply a vocalist and writer, but also a performer and a poet, and very extravagant, had a great, punk audience as well, who welcomed her very much into the punk scene. Azula Nebula from the band Aqua Nebula Oscillator, a band hailing from Belgium and France. They are a psychedelic rock band, still performing today, but I chose this album as their self-titled album because I thought she was very kind of intense and multifaceted artist who's dabbled with everything from sampling to making effects and noises and synthesizers, drum machines, and she's a cabaret artist. That's how she started out. She's actually a friend of mine, so I do know that she also has other albums out at the moment, some on tape, some on vinyl, and others on digital as well. She's an artist in her own right. She DJs as well, and she also directs films and videos. The reason I'm mentioning this band is because they've got a fantastic female bassist who's very much Prince inspired, I think, and I love Prince. And I think they've very much got a style of their own, this band. Forgive me, I can never pronounce it quite right. It's Kruanjabing. Oops. They're from Texas, these, and they're great performers. You have to see them live. Absolutely brilliant. For all the funk fanatics out there, this is a great album. This is actually a new addition to my collection. Let me just take you through the equipment I use on a day-to-day basis to make sure that my sound setup is right. After recording a piece, you always want to make sure that you've tested it out on speakers before, and that's why I have my Yamaha testing speakers first for that. Then I've got my Denon decks, very reliable. I've had them for years, really good brand. Then we have mixers. I use M Audio and Nexe. And we've got 2 KEF speakers over here, very good sound. I love the fact that they don't have a heavy bass, sound. I think when you listen through speakers, it should be very nice and sort of subtle and not heavy on the bass. Then we've got the Technics turntable over there, closed up in its box. And then we've got more headphones, so I think these are essential to my DT770 Pro, and they're my favorite set of headphones. I use them for everything. I really couldn't work without these. They're the best I've had since. And mics, of course. What would I be without a mic? So this is actually Audio-Technica, and I also love my good Neumann condenser mic. Adrian Borland from The Sound, they were pivotal for me growing up listening to sort of garage and post-punk. They've shaped quite a lot of the alternative music you listen to today in terms of alternative rock, heavy influence, Mark Burgess from The Chameleons, UK, again, very pivotal in my, formative years in music. I think they have had such an impact on, again, the garage scene. This is the great thing about these artists. They're timeless, and no matter how many times you listen to them, you never get bored or sick of hearing them because they're geniuses. I'd love to have had the chance to work with artists like Nico or Klaus Nomi, and I think Klaus Nomi was one of those amazing artists from the 80s and 70s who first appeared in his debut performing at a punk club in New York for a cabaret performance in this tight little sort of arena packed with lots of punk rockers, and he was essentially giving a falsetto operatic rendition of a song. So he was singing in this falsetto, opera to punk rockers who were not expecting that. Obviously a huge influence on the punk scene. I think he would have been great to work with. The Areola Treat are planning a 3 release set. We don't know when that's happening, or we don't know how we're about to release them, but we'll let you know. Because of the COVID crisis, it's quite difficult for us to give you any information, but you'll know when it's happening because we'll let you know. But yes, we're planning 3 releases, of which 2 are full-length albums and 1 EP. We'll be giving you more information when they do come out, and we'll be doing lots of promo on that. So thank you for listening today.